Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, day 3 of our journey through Vayera. We're trying our best to get through the end of chapter number 18, and I think today we'll do so. Yesterday we talked about the fact that Avraham was not biologically driven to be a father, as most men are not. It's a cultural thing for him to desire to bring up his family correctly. And Yah acknowledges again in verse 19 that he recognizes that Abraham will be a man that will teach his family tzedakah umishpat, righteousness or justice and righteous ruling, to live correctly. By contrast, the cities of the plain did not live this way, and his nephew Lot, he knew, lived there. Maybe he was not aware to whatever degree that Lot may be struggling himself to walk uprightly. Perhaps they've been apart for some period of time at this point. And Yah says to him, I will not hide from you what I'm about to do. I'm going to reveal to you the judgment that is impending. Now, the way that it says in verse 20 that the outcry against the cities of the plain, specifically Sodom and Gomorrah, has come up to him. Who's crying out? Was it Abraham himself? Was it Lot that was living within the city? What was it and who was it that was crying out? What was the cause? Now, we use the term currently in the English language of sodomites to reference a certain perversive style of behavior. Sodom has been well noted to be a haven of homosexuality. The fact that the men of the city in the next chapter press themselves against the door, weary themselves even when struck with blindness to try to break in, to put their hands on two messengers, two spiritual messengers that have come into their midst, that they, quote unquote, may know them. And again, this is the scriptural term for having sexual relations. So perhaps then there was a great deal of homosexuality that was going on. Typically, we hear it well preached that that is the sin that Yah judged the cities for. I think there's more to it than that. When you read from the book of Yechezkel or Ezekiel, chapter 16, begin with verse 46, we read, "This was the sin of your sister Sodom. She had plenty of bread and untroubled tranquility, yet she did not support the poor and the needy. And her haughtiness they sinned before me, so I removed them as you saw." Lot was one who showed hospitality. The two men, as they appeared to be, showed up within the city. He sitting in the gate, perhaps as a judge. Maybe he bought himself a position among them with the wealth he would have had by selling out his goods, moving into the city, buys himself a place of prestige. He is seen then as one worthy to sit in the gate, a place of jurisprudence here. And the two men appear close to twilight, and he urges them, do not stay in the city square tonight. Please come home to my house. I'll wash your feet, feed you, and then you got to get out of here in the morning. He was urgent that they not stay. Why was that an issue? In the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu chapter 1, if you read verses through 10 through 21, you will find these words, "Hear the word of Yahweh, O you rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the Torah of our Elohim, you people of Gomorrah. Of what use to me are your many slaughterings, declares Yahweh. How the steadfast city has become a whore. I have filled it with right ruling, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers." In verse 23, Your rulers are stubborn and companions of thieves. Everyone loves bribes and runs after rewards. They do not defend the fatherless, nor does the cause of the widow reach them. From the prophets, then, we realize that there was more to it than sexual perversion for which these cities were destroyed. Rather, it was a neglect of the poor and the needy, a failure to show hospitality, an unwillingness to care for those that were underprivileged. The prevailing mindset very well may have been, this is an elite city, an esteemed place. We don't want anyone who is from the outside coming in here and messing up what we have established. This is a country club to which membership is very restricted. And if we start showing hospitality to strangers, it's going to demote us and our prestige and our elite status. We don't want, quote unquote, those people here. Lot violated the rules in bringing the two messengers home, and the townsmen soon found out about it. Not only then were they seeking to know them, but there was a pressing against Lot. You thought yourself a judge and you're going to come in here and think you're somebody? And so they were seeking to press themselves against Lot as well. So why tell Avraham this? Well, he is a Sadiq. He is a righteous man. Yah says, I'm not going to hide from you since you are the one that is going to raise up the covenant family. I'm allowing you to understand and know that if you fail to raise your future generations with the causes of tzedakah u'mishpat, of righteousness and judgment, righteous judgment, right ruling, then there is a heavenly judgment that will be outpoured. There was, it may have been a warning against homosexuality to some degree, but the reality of the warning here is you must teach your family these values. And when you read the prophets, you will find that there is a great cause for these concepts to be restored to the house of Yah's people. Now, the second reason was, as a Sadiq, the effectual fervent prayers of a righteous man, a Sadiq, avails much or does much good, Yaakov or James wrote. He is offered the opportunity then to intercede for these people. He begins, if there are 50 Sadiqs in the city, will you spare the cities? Yah says that 50 Sadiqs living in these cities would have enough righteous influence that they could turn the cities and teach them correctly how to walk before the Most High. As would 45, as would 30, as would 20, as would 10. Avraham intercedes, understanding there's probably not 50, probably not 45. I doubt there's 40. I doubt there's 30. I can't imagine 20. Maybe there are 10. 10 righteous men who would exert righteous influence in these cities. Is that enough? Yah says it's enough. Now, in reality, as we get into chapter 19, there's only one Sadiq living in the city. His name is Lot, and he is enough of a Sadiq that they say to him, you will be spared, as will your wife and your 2 daughters that are here. Your sons-in-laws and the daughters that they have married, if they will come with you, they may come as well. They refuse to come. So his righteous influence extended to only 3 additional people to himself. And he lost his wife before they could get out of town very far. What does this tell us? As bad as those cities were, 10 righteous men would have been enough in Yah's eyes to turn the tables and cause these nations to hear a message that would have caused them to repent. How much more in our day, in our city, in your community, and your family, if you will rise up and join with others who walk righteously and teach right ruling, you can turn a city 10 righteous men can turn a city. It can be done. You and I need to try. Until tomorrow, shalom.